What if I told you there was a place right here in Florida where you could have it all? You could have the beauty of the Gulf Coast, you could have the tight-knit community, and you can also have affordable living. Well, in today's video, that's exactly what we're going to go over. That place is called Navarre. Let's get into it.
In today's video, we're going to go over the top 9 reasons why you will love living on Navarre. Or in Navarre, not necessarily on Navarre.
You can live on or in Navarre. It's your choice.
So the first reason that we're going to go over is, of course, the beaches. Everyone
knows. We got to start with that. Like, that's kind of our crown jewel, right?
Yeah, it really is. You've got the pristine white sands. You've got the emerald waters. You've got all of the sea creatures, which are, becoming very friendly these days. I don't know what it is, but we're seeing a lot more interactions, I guess, from the wildlife. We're seeing dolphins, sharks. We just saw some whale sharks recently, both in Destin and right outside of 30A area.
And a bear in the water. A bear was on the beach the other day.
There was a bear enjoying the sun. Actually, we're pretty sure he got lost. We feel bad for the little critter, but eventually he did make his way at least off of the beach where he probably didn't really want to be. But those areas are a little bit further east than Navarre. Navarre is still a little bit more tranquil, but we do still see lots of sharks and dolphins, which are equally cool to see. We see some manatees out here as well. So if you really enjoy wildlife, definitely go check out Navarre Beach. Highly recommend going in the morning time frames, like somewhere between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. before the crowd comes in. That's when the kind of animals take over. And you also see the majority of the shells that are still there. So overnight, the shells have time to accumulate on Navarre Beach. And in the morning, if you're the first one there or among the first people there, it's a great time to go and collect, the most beautiful ones before other people have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, shelling is very popular in Navarre. In fact, it's the only city in our scope of reach that it is this common. Now, you can go shelling on any of our beaches, but for some reason they accumulate a little bit more in Navarre. But don't worry, it's not going to stop you from that beautiful powder white sand. And it's not just the beach that we're talking about. We're also talking about all of the outdoor activities that you can do here in Navarre. So everything from snorkeling and swimming and, that kind of stuff, paddle boarding. But you've also got nature trails. You've got a ton of parks. You've just got a ridiculous amount of outdoor activities that you can partake in.
What's really cool is because Navarre also has Navarre Beach right there across the bridge, you've got 2 bodies, well, actually 3 bodies of water, because on the north side, you've got the bay, and then on the south side, you've got the intercoastal waterway, or as we like to call it, the Sound. And then on the other side of the national seashore, then you have the actual Gulf. So if you're wanting to maybe go do some deep sea fishing, you can do that out in the Gulf. If you're wanting to kind of check out some intercoastal islands, some isolated islands, you can do that right there in the Sound. If you just want to go really, really fast on some jet skis, you can do that out in the bay. And it's super fun, all of it. And you can see some great wildlife. The dolphins don't care. They're like, bay, cool. Sound, cool. Gulf, cool. Whatever. So you can still experience all of it regardless of the body that you go in. Just maybe some different style waves. You're not going to get rolled over so much in the Sound or in the bay. So if you're not the best swimmer, then, staying closer to those shores is a lot easier than being out in the Gulf where you have the higher probability of, experiencing a rip current, which we have out here.
And for those of you that don't want to be in those types of bodies of water, but you still want to get that, water action, if you will. And just a short drive away, we've got Blackwater River. So we've got a river you can tube down, you can kayak through. You've also got springs nearby. And of course, you've got more hiking and trail walking and biking and stuff than you can possibly shake a stick at. Now, if you're looking for some hardcore mountain biking, this is not your place, but we do still have a couple of hills nearby. So you can get that fixed, but it's not going to be the adrenaline rush if you are a downhill biker or something.
All right. In addition to all of these great activities and proximity to water and all of that stuff that we also have a great community here. So the second thing we're going to go over is the community. Navarre isn't like Destin or Pensacola where you get, high levels of tourism. We get a little bit because there are some areas that Airbnb out very well, but it hasn't really made it to that same level that, Pensacola and Destin, like I mentioned, have. So we see a lot more locals here, a lot of military, a lot of veterans, contractors, DOD, some professionals in the area. We see a lot more of that, a lot more families. Navarre is kind of the quiet between the storms, You can go there, you can have your home and be away from everything. It's nice and quiet, minus maybe the gunships, but you're close and, it's easy to access Pensacola and Destin. So if you wanted some really great nightlife, then you would go to either of those places. It does have, some places, but it's just not as big as Pensacola or Destin.
And one of my favorite things about this entire area, and Navarre is no different. In fact, out of all the areas, Navarre probably hits this one fairly strong. And that's that warm and welcoming nature that the entire community has. And they come together whenever a natural disaster happens, when there are hurricanes come through, which we just recently dealt with, or even AJ, not too long ago during our last hurricane, had some flood damage and a bunch of water because she was sitting right on the water. So it is, bound to happen from time to time. But the community came together very, very quickly to help her clean everything up and get her life back in order as quickly as possible.
It was really an amazing thing, actually. There were people whose names I didn't know. I didn't recognize them. I didn't know any of them. And then, of course, friends like Mongo showed up to help me. And it was the most incredible feeling, when you're going through something that, traumatic, to just have people come in and support you in such a way, such a dangerous way, even because there was just crazy debris everywhere. There were dead jellyfish everywhere because the water had gotten so high, and there was a boat jammed under my house. Like, it was just absolute insanity. And there were so many people that came over with, various tools and stuff, just trying to get us into some kind of normalcy, or so we can even access the house again. So it really is just an incredible community. I do think a lot of that is because we have so many veterans here that, it's just instilled on us. You help people, you serve, and it's just an incredible place to live, really.
And of course, for those of you looking to get out in the community a little bit, there are a ton of different clubs and organizations you can join, from women's clubs to gardening clubs to pet refuges to Elks Lodges and things like that. So there's no shortage of things to get involved in.
Yeah, there are even these like neighborhood apps. There's I think Neighborhood, and there's Meetup and Nextdoor, and just like different Facebook groups, and just people coming together trying to find other people that are interested in their same hobbies. So it's really cool in the way that we can meet people, online, and then bring that to an in-person experience so that you can really cultivate friendships with people that have similar views and interests.
And the same thing for volunteer work as well. So if you don't want to join a club or something like that, and you want to volunteer to help people in need, or, one of the animal shelters, one of the pet shelters, one of the wildlife refuges or something like that, those are options also.
Just in case you guys are brand new to our channel, I'm AJ, and this is
Andrew.
And we're local real estate agents right here in the Navarre area with the Emerald Group. And we are so happy that you are viewing our channel. If you are one of our returning subscribers, thank you for being here with us. If you're not, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so that you get notified every time we do another video. We are doing them every week from Pensacola to Panama City Beach. So if you have any interest in those areas, you don't want to miss out.
And number 3 on our list is the ideal climate. Now, this could be argued whether it's ideal, especially if you're in the area right now, because it has been ridiculously hot. But it sounds...
This is what it feels like. This is what it's doing, all right?
It does sound like that a good portion of the country is dealing with the same heat wave, but the heat can get a little bit warm here, but most of the time it is a pretty ideal temperature, So it's not like South Florida where it is just absolutely brutal with the heat. We do get a little bit of that coolness. And then, of course, we've got that nice breeze coming in from the ocean, which always cools things down. Now, we do have a little bit of humidity, and we do have a pretty harsh winter here. It lasts for like a week or two, and it is painful. We have to wear jackets. We have to find jackets. We have to go buy jackets. Like,
closed-toe shoes.
Yeah, closed-toe shoes, which I don't generally wear except about 2 months out of the year. But, overall, it's a pretty solid climate.
We don't have to shovel snow. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Nice.
The fourth thing that we're going to go over is how family friendly the area is. We already talked about how great the community is, but it's super family friendly as well. If you're a parent like me, then you know that sometimes you just need all kinds of activities to wear your kids out, because they're going to just be crazy if they don't get that energy out. Somehow, when you're really little, you have all this energy, and the older you get, the less energy you have. So while they're young, it's good to find ways to help them exert that energy so they're not breaking things in the house. And Navarre has a lot lot of great things for that. There are parks all over the place. You've got the Turtle Conservation Center as well. They do this really cool program where they'll actually like let you watch them take turtles back out to the sea that have been rehabilitated.
They just did one. It was so cool.
Oh yeah. One of our agents actually took his family out there. Really cool thing to see. Sage actually loves going out there. They have this area where you can see, I forget the name of the turtle that stays there.
Something with a J, isn't it?
I don't remember. But they have one turtle that won't be able to be rehabilitated. So she's got her own pool and she hangs out in there. And then they've got this other area with various aquariums. And they've got these specific fish in there that look like they have mohawks and they hang out on rocks and they're super cool. And Sage loves them. And I love seeing them out of the Destin jetties. So it's just a cool place to take the kids.
Now, Navarre has many parks, but there are 5 pretty sizable ones. And there's one in particular at the Navarre Visitor Center that is so cool. They just redid it. I'm going to try to get some video for you guys, so hopefully that's running in the background. But it's an entire splash pad situation. It doesn't cost anything to go to. They've got these little springs coming up and slides and just a bunch of stuff to really wear out the kids. And the best part about this whole thing is it's right on the sound. So it's right on the water. So when you're taking a quick break from looking at your child and you look away real quick, you're going to have some pretty good views. Don't be staring at it the whole time, though. I think you should be watching your kids. I'm not a parent, so I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but I feel like that's how you should be doing it.
That is a really cool park. It's also got some walking paths right around it. So if you're like the type to walk or maybe you like to run, you can go check out that path, go walking. It's right along the water's edge. And it will even connect to the Navarre Bridge, which is cool because then you can run over the Navarre Bridge and then across that like island. It's like a land bridge and then continue running all the way to Pensacola if you so desire. I'm not running that far, but it'll take you all the way over there and, come on back or take an Uber back, whichever the case might be. But it's really cool because you've got it there for kids and for yourself. So you can, maybe you've got, a bicycle and you're towing your kid behind you or something like that. It's a really cool experience.
And for those of you guys that have a child that like critters and animals, or maybe you're just solo and you like animals, the Gulf Breeze Zoo is just down the road. It is technically in Gulf Breeze, which is kind of a subset of Navarre in a certain aspect, but it's kind of its own thing. But point of it is the Gulf Breeze Zoo is freaking awesome. They have obviously a ton of animals, like that's obvious. But one of my favorite things that you can do is you can feed the giraffes. They'll give you a head of lettuce to feed the giraffes. It's freaking insane. It's so cool. I don't think it's really lettuce. I think it's these big leaf things.
Yeah, it's like big romaine lettuce.
Yeah. And so you've got romaine lettuce you're feeding them. You can get these little buckets of stuff to feed the goats and the pigs and almost, a good chunk of the other animals. And then lastly, they have this little like bird.
Yeah, like an aviary.
Like an aviary. And you go in these little popsicle sticks full of stuff and these birds just land on you and they just have a good time. Test it out with your child first. Some kids don't like it. Others just absolutely love it and will spend an hour in there if you let them.
There's also a train ride that'll go around.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the train too.
Sage loves the train. And if you really like the critters, then there's also the Gulfarium over on Okaloosa Island, which is awesome. They do dolphin shows and sea lion shows. And they've got this area where you can actually like touch little shallow water critters if you so choose. And you can walk around where there are like some gators on, behind glass or in, like their moats or whatever. It's pretty cool. It's just another place to see animals, or you can go over to Destin. You're not so far away and go over to Destin and do some dolphin watching. There are so many boats out there. You can pick whichever one. If you want to go slow, they've got those. They've got glass bottom boats. They got fast boats. They got party boats, boats on boats on boats. And you can see dolphins from all of them.
Now, Navarre is also one of 2 gateways to get onto the Gulf Islands National Seashore, which is a strip of island essentially going from Navarre to Pensacola. And there's kind of a lot to do here. First off, there's an amazing drive. So if you're ever coming from Pensacola to Navarre or vice versa, I highly suggest you take this drive because you've got the beach on one side or the other, depending, and it's a clear shot. And there's nothing else. There's no buildings for a good portion of it. There's a few small pockets where they put pavilions up so you can go, if you wanted to find your own private area of the beach, this is where you do it because it's miles and I don't even remember how many miles it is, but it is like a good probably 20, 30 miles.
I think it's 20.
So lots and lots of beach space. On top of that, there are a lot of other things you can do at the Gulf Islands National Seashore as well.
It's not just going to the beach, right? And that scenic drive is absolutely beautiful. But at the end, as if you were going to Pensacola, you're going to have Fort Pickens, which is super cool. You can go out there and check out all the old buildings, the cannons, things of that nature. A lot of folks actually go out there for pictures because you've got this really picturesque brick that just looks really aesthetically pleasing in various photos. And you've got these archways and such. So that's a really cool place to go. Take your kids, let them run around. There's plenty of area. They've got public restrooms and such. And it doesn't cost that much to go in there.
Ooh. No, and they also do some reenactments and stuff in there where they'll fire off these like big, massive cannons. So you can kind of watch all that stuff. Those aren't generally going on every single day, but they do have timed times for those. So look out for that.
The sixth item that we're going to go over on the list of top reasons why people love and why you will love Navarre is the price of housing and the cost of living. So Navarre, even though it's in such close proximity to the beach, its prices don't really reflect that. That, you know, when you compare them to other areas or other locations in our area, whatever, they're a bit cheaper, honestly. You can get, you know, a condo on the beach or a house just on the north side of the bridge for significantly cheaper than you would find the same over in Destin, but you have it so much quieter.
And on top of that, all of the cost of living metrics that we generally follow, your groceries, your utilities, gas, all of that falls either right at the national median or, of course, below it, and sometimes several percentage points below it. Probably not enough that you're going to be like, wow, I'm really saving a ton of money here, but it's not falling more expensive, which you would generally find in a beach town.
Your housing costs, you know, for actual purchasing is going to be on average in the 400s, maybe starting around 420 as your average, but you can find some more entry level properties in sometimes even under 200. Now, granted, these are going to be super small, super rare. They might be a little bit cramped, but they do exist. So if you're like, I don't care what it looks like, I just want to be super close to the beach and this is my budget, there might be some options for you, surprisingly.
And you also have options with townhomes and condos that might stretch those boundaries, you know, a little bit more. But for the most part, we were looking at single family homes because we know that is a good portion of our audience. Oh, and before we forget, we are real estate agents first, so please keep that in mind if you guys are thinking about moving down here. All of our information will pop up on the screen. It's on every single video that we do, so feel free to reach out to us. You can call, text, throw a carrier pigeon, do a comment down below. Don't throw a carrier pigeon, actually. That's kind of weird. Rude. Send a carrier pigeon, throw a football with a note on it, or of course reach out to us with any of our social media handles that you see on the screen.
This blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
The seventh item on our list, and probably should have been closer to like the first or second, is the crime in Navarre. There really isn't much of it. It's a pretty safe place to live, and I don't really like sending people to, you know, various real estate websites when we have a really good one. But Trulia does have a really great crime map that they've incorporated into their system. So essentially, you're able to go and look at any property that you really like. Say we send you a property and you're like, oh man, I really like this one. You can pull it up on Trulia. And it will have an option to look at the crime map. It's, you know, synced with it so that you can go directly to that link, blow up the map so that you can see it a bit closer and look directly at neighborhoods and areas to see what's the crime looking like in that specific neighborhood.
Yeah, they even go so far as to tell you exactly what kind of crime is happening. So if you're in an area that's like, oh, it looks like it's higher crime recently right now, and then you zoom in and it's like, oh, a DUI, and then, you know, whatever. You can kind of look at that and go, all right, well, at least it's not crazy crime, you know. All right, number 8 on our list is going to be the local festivals and events. And there are several that are home and native just to Navarre that you're not going to find in any of the other areas. One of my favorites, of course, is the Shamrock 5K run/walk combination. And they do that in conjunction with a pet parade and costume contest, which is always fun to watch.
Super cute. There's also some great entertainment that they do right there on Navarre Beach. They've created this area in the parking lot with these like shades, and there's like a little platform there. So they'll be doing live music, and you'll get like a food truck out there. Of course, you've got some restaurants right there, right on the water. So you can go there and have some beverages, have some food. You've got the pier that you can walk down and back. But as far as like actual events, it really brings the community together right there. That live music that they'll do it there over at Broussard's. Broussard's might have changed hands again. There's a restaurant right there. It changes hands like every 2 years, like clockwork. So when I'm saying this, it might have changed already, but you would head south on the Navarre Bridge and past Juana's pagodas on the right. Keep going to the intersection, and then right there on the corner, there's a large restaurant with a great outdoor area, and they've got a platform as well for live music. Really, really great atmosphere, tons of parking. If y'all have been watching our videos for a while, you know that I'm a stickler for great parking, and this one, I will go there pretty much whenever because I don't have to worry about finding a spot to park.
And for those of you who just can't get enough of Christmas, we've got a Christmas in the Park and parade every single year as well. You can take the kiddos out there. There is an entry fee for this one, but it is well worth it. You get to go see Mr. Claus, see Mrs. Claus. They're out there waving. You take pictures with them, and it is generally a pretty good time.
Last but not least, we have the 9th thing on our list, and we kind of touched on it already, and this is just the proximity to Pensacola and Destin. So if you're like us and you kind of want some quiet at night and you don't want to hear everybody's partying, but you want the ability to go and party with those people when you decide to, Pensacola and Destin are not far drives at all. We're talking like 25, 30 minutes, depending on how deep into either one you want to go. Pensacola has some amazing events, like their gallery night once a month is so much fun. And they've started both areas. Actually, they're really picking up on some Latin culture. So we're seeing a lot more events for salsa and bachata festivals and things of that nature. So lots of cultural things to do in both locations. That's the one that mostly entertains me. So that's really the one that I know about. But I do know that we'll see, stuff in Fort Walton about like Indian heritage and things like that. So lots of cultural things going on both east and west of the location.
And for our sports fans, we have a baseball team and a hockey team. A hockey team here in Florida. I just want to... Every time I think about that. But I'll tell you what, it is such a good time. They really get the crowd into it and riled up. You've got those people with those big sticks that you hit together, those balloon sticks. It is such a good time. They do a really good job. The Blue Wahoos, which is the baseball team that's out here, they do a ton of really fun stuff during their game. They'll do like this race thing. They'll have the kids go out on and they run out and race to the other side. And anyway, it's just a really good time. There's tons of great vendors out there as well. And it is extremely inexpensive to go and spend an entire afternoon watching a game.
If you guys are still with us, then we must have entertained you or you must have learned something. So either way, please go ahead and give us that thumbs up so that other folks know that we've provided some great value here as well. And we'll see you all the next one.
See ya.